I can't even tell you how long I've been waiting to do this video. Hey Bestianas, welcome back to my channel. My name is Donatella and I love reading. So I thought that it would be a great opportunity to rank one of my favorite romance series of all time. So this is the Chestnut Spring Series by Elsie Silver. It's a small town romance that follows the Eaton brothers and friends, and each book has different tropes based off of a different brother, different girl obviously, and it just follows the life of the Eaton boys. This is not the proper order, and there is a fifth book, but these are the European covers, and I only got the 4 European covers when I got them for Christmas, so I ended up reading the last one on my Kindle, but I've read all 5. The series is 5 interconnected standalones, and you could read them out of order, but I am just someone who has to read them in order because while it's a romance, so nothing really gets spoiled, you kind of know everyone ends up in the end in a happy cowboy romance. But from the 3rd book, Powerless, to the 5th book, Hopeless, there is like a small subplot that revolves around the brother that the 5th book is about. So that's kind of like the only thing that I recommend, that if you want to read out of order, do so at your own discretion. So today I'm ranking the 5 books, and I'm also ranking the male main characters and the female main characters. So stick around and find out my favorites and least favorites of the Chestnut Spring series. This is editing Donatella. I forgot to put the actual order of the books before I started ranking them, so the lighting looks a little different. It's because I'm rushing before daylight suffices. So the order of the Chestnut Spring series is Flawless is the 1st book, then it's Heartless, which is the 2nd book. The 3rd book is Powerless. The 4th book is Reckless, and the 5th book, which I have on my Kindle, is Hopeless. So that is the reading order of the Chestnut Spring series, and this is what it looks like. So the first characters that we're going to go over are the females. So we have 5 females in each book. We have Summer, Willa, Sloane, Winter, and Bailey. So I'm going to go over my least to most favorite of the female characters. Okay, so in last place is Bailey from Hopeless. So Bailey is the female main character in the 5th book of the series, which is why I have my Kindle out. It's not that I hate her. I don't hate any of the female main characters. It's just she was very young and she acted young, and like to the point like she's younger than me in these books. She's 22, 21, 22. He's much older. I believe there's like a 13-14 year age gap between them, but she made it a point to act like a child sometimes, and she was very inexperienced, and I did understand that, but there was just, I didn't really connect to her to the way that I connected to the other female main characters. So for that, she's in 5th place. At the end of the book, she did go out to sort out her dreams, but it did revolve around a man. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but when you read the book, she has such like a heartbreaking story that like you kind of wish she gave time for herself to figure everything out. But I don't hate her. She's very fun to read. She's very spunky. She's very energetic, but she's just not my favorite in the series. In 4th place, we have Sloane. Sloane is the female character in the 3rd book of the series. She is a ballerina that comes from a wealthy family. Again, not that I hate her, she just didn't stand out to me at all. Like when I was making this list, I was kind of like, wait, who am I forgetting? And it was Sloane. I'm so sorry. I loved her in Jasper's story. I thought it was really cute. Not my favorite, but we'll get into that when we're talking about the actual books. But I just didn't connect to Sloane the way I would have wanted to, considering she was brought up quite a couple of times in the previous books. And again, it was a huge reference, like their age gap in this, which I forgot the exact number, but it was just referenced a lot. She kind of just didn't stand out to me. I think that's really why she was in 4th place. I just can't remember her. It kind of sounds bad, but I just didn't. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I'm sorry. So in 3rd place now we have Winter. Winter is the 4th book, and she's the sister of Summer, who is in the 1st book, Flawless. So Reckless is Winter's book, Flawless is Summer's book. I hated Winter in the first 3 books of this series, but watching her become a mom and watching her kind of melt that like cold energy that she always brought places, like watching her melt was like a really great thing to see. And I think she had a great character development, and she really started prioritizing herself and what she needed, and she started letting her sister in, who she really resented a lot, and just she had an overall great character change, and I really appreciated that for her, and that is why she's in 3rd place. Also, she's a doctor. We love a queen who's a doctor. But yes, that's Winter. In 2nd place, we have Winter's sister, Summer. Summer is the 1st female main character of the Chestnut Spring series. She's in Flawless. I love Summer, okay? I will ride for Summer because she makes a heavy appearance in every single other book and impacts all of the characters in positive ways. So, I mean, going back to Sloane for a second, she was kind of forgotten by me because she was really only present in her book. The other book, she had cameos, but she was really only present in her book. Summer was very present in everyone's book and really gave everyone equal opportunity, despite the way that they spoke to her, despite the way they acted towards her, despite where they came from, like their family. She accepted everyone, and she is just so great. She opened up her own training center in the Chestnut Springs area, and she's just a great character. She should really be studied. She's a great character, and I have 0 complaints about Summer at all. Her man, on the other hand, we will get to that, okay? And finally, my favorite female character was Willa. Willa is the main character of the 2nd book of the Chestnut Spring series. She's Summer's best friend, and she ends up with Summer's husband's brother, okay? So we'll get to that when we talk more about the plot of the book. But Willa is my favorite character like she's my favorite romance female main character thus far. She is just such like a bubbly person, but when she has to say something, when she has to stick up for people she loves, like she will do that. She did it in Hopeless to Bailey, who was literally the sibling of their rival like farm. So she rides at dawn for everyone around her, but she still has this like really welcoming, fun, high-spirited personality that like I kind of see myself in Willa a little, and I think I just felt a lot more connected to her than I did with the rest of the girls in the book, and I just really love her. I love her spirit. I love how strong she is, and I love that she's not afraid to tell anyone anything or afraid to put people in their place. With that, the winner of my favorite female main character in the Chestnut Spring series is Willa. Thank you, Willa, for your grace. Thank you, Willa, for being written. Thank you, Elsie Silver, for writing Willa. Thank you. Okay, now we are on to the next portion of the video, which is going to be the male main characters of the series. So I'm just going to rank, like I did for the female main characters, from my least favorite to favorite of the Chestnut Spring series. In last place, absolutely juxtaposing my female main character ranking, is Rhett. Rhett is the first male main character of the Chestnut Spring series. He is Summer, the plot point of this book. I do not like this man, okay? He's grumpy, but like a whole level of grumpy that like if I was Summer, like I don't think I would be able to handle that, which makes sense because this book is low-key like enemies to lovers kind of thing. But guys, he's a dog, okay? There was a scene with the cowboy hat and we love it, okay? But I just don't like him. I hate how he proposed to her at the end of the book. It was honestly like my least favorite proposal I take that back. There's one singular book where I will never, ever forgive the author for that proposal. But this was like second or third at the bottom of epilogues. Like, I did not like the way he proposed to her. Not even that. He's described as having hair longer than Summer's. I'm a sucker for long hair Harry Styles, but that was like the max that I would ever accept for a man. I'm a short hair girly at heart. But when I see like edits, or when I see like the people on the covers, his hair is like longer than mine, and I hate that. I hate that. It's giving greasy. It's giving slime. Just because like he is also like a bull rider, so you know damn well he's like rough around the edges and like not like Harry Styles long hair. So for that, Rhett is at the bottom. L Rhett. I'm so sorry, but you just didn't stick out to me. Sorry. I need my sip, my mid-video sip. And I broke my Stanley straw. So I'm very upset about that. So in fourth place, my cousin will also kill me for this. It is Jasper from the third book, from Powerless. I, again, like Sloane, this book as a whole did not stick out to me. I didn't connect to the characters. I didn't connect to Jasper. But he gets brownie points for the tattoo that he got of her, the ballerina tattoo. I thought that was really cute. He kind of got adopted into the Eaton family. He's not related to them, but he had a really hard childhood. So I really empathize with that. And he's a dog. Some of the things this man was saying, if you read the series, you know the ring scene when he's like, oh, I'll beat the ring off you. Like guys, like, he's kind of a dog for that. But again, like, it was just like you both liked each other and you both knew you. That's me talking about the book. But like, it just, the miscommunication got me so mad. So mad. But Jasper, he was good. Some of his scenes were phenomenal. But like, he just didn't stick out to me, and I always just forget him. I'm sorry. This was just not my favorite. Not my favorite. But it's more positives than negatives. Just, you know, average. Forgotten. I'm sorry. Okay, the next rank, so in third place, we have Beau. Beau is in Hopeless, which is the fifth book. So him and Bailey are together. He is a dog. This is a who did this to you vibe. And I am so here for it. The only negatives I have about this man is that he would not shut up about her age. Okay, like, I get it. There was an age gap. But you clearly are into her and you have to stop. Because you're giving me the ick at this point. But he stood up for Bailey despite, like, the fact that he hated her family. Like, before they were even together. Like, he hated her family. And he did so much for her. And he took care of her when she needed him the most. And it just warmed my whole heart. And Beau, you really are a solid number 3. Because you just wouldn't stop talking about the age gap. But he did so many things that, like, she deserved. And, like, he did so many things for her. So that's why Beau gets third place. Okay. In second place, we have Theo Silva. So Theo is Rhett's best friend. Rhett from the first book. I literally love this man. Okay. Reckless. I literally love this book, but we'll get that later. This man did so much to the point he bought the house next door. He bought the house next door. He bought the house. Let me repeat it. He bought the house next door. The only problem in this was a miscommunication. He would have dropped everything for her if he found out that she was carrying his baby. He would have stopped. He would have ended it. He would have ended his career. He will ride at dawn for winter, okay? And his little baby. I forgot the name of the baby. Vivi. He loves his daughter. And it's just, I hate pregnancy trope, but Elsie Silver really did it. She really got me with Theo. Like, he was just such a good dad. And he really gave Winter the support she needed without being so pushy and being in a relationship. Like, he wanted to be in that relationship with her. but she was just super hesitant because of the whole miscommunication that happened between them. But he stood up for her in front of her family, because Summer and Rhett were like, what are you talking about? Like, this is his baby, like, blah, 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 blah. He stood up for her. He loves her, and I love him. Not to mention the phenomenal scene we got at the end. I was so grateful for that. Thank you, Elsie Silver, for that. Thank you. And if you've done Process of Elimination, the number one spot for my favorite male main character of the Chestnut Spring series goes to none other than Cade Eaton. Cade MF Eaton. Cade MF Eaton, okay? This is my man. This is my man. I love him, okay? I will never accept hate or criticism or anything. He's a single dad, and he took care of his son, and his son loves him so much. And he did so much for Willow when she needed him, when she kind of felt like she was lost in life, and he gave her the nanny position. And all he just wants to do is work on his farm and just like live this quiet lifestyle. And he's a dog. Cade Eaton is a dog, I must say. He just had a place in my heart. I can't even tell you why, but like, I read this book, maybe because I read this right after I read about Rhett, and I literally hated Rhett. So reading about Cade, I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is so good. Like, this was grumpy sunshine, but it wasn't asshole sunshine like Flawless was, okay? Rhett was asshole. He was just literally a grumpy old man. Like, he was giving like Taryn from Fourth Wing, like, you're just a grumpy old man. And Willa just brought out a different side of him, and I just love it. I love it, okay? Nothing more to say, but I just love Cade Eaton and his love for his family. That's all I have to say. I have no other reasoning as to why he's my number one. I just love it. And now we're on the grand finale of me ranking all of the books, from tropes, main characters, couple, everything. The overall book, I'm ranking it. Okay? So let's get started on that. I'm gonna be real mad at me for this. In 5th place, we have Flawless by Elsie Silver. The first book was my least favorite. Now, when I first read this book, I rated it 4.5 stars. But that's because this was the first book in the series, and I didn't know that it was going to get better than this. So on Goodreads, it's 4.5, but now I think it's like more 3.5. It's not that I hated the book, because again, when I initially read it, like, I loved it. I loved that, like, her freckles on her back reminded him of stars. Like, that was cute and everything, but again, I just didn't like Rhett. And it just kind of killed my vibes for it. Overall, this book is basically Rhett's a famous bull rider. He got into an altercation that became publicized. His career's kind of on the line, and he needs a babysitter. His agent is Summer's dad. So Summer kind of doesn't know what she's doing with her life, and her sister hates her, Winter. And there's a lot of like past trauma that Summer's had. She's had some surgeries in the past. She was kind of sick when she was a teenager, and she had a doctor that took advantage of her that she never told anyone about. It ended up being Winter's husband or fiance, which Winter didn't know. So it was kind of like a lot that was happening in this book, but that's not really relevant to this book. It's more relevant to Winter's book. So she had a sister who hates her for, like, you know, she graduated. She doesn't know what she's doing with her life. So her dad is like, you know what? Like, watch him. You're going to be his babysitter. You're going to go with him. You're going to follow him to all his meets. You're going to live with him. Like, you were going to babysit him, and you were going to make sure that he behaves himself. So that's kind of like what the whole book is about. It's really just introducing Chestnut Springs as a whole, which it did a phenomenal job of. Like, they introduced all the brothers. Like, we got to see, like, snippets of all of the females from the rest of the series. I just didn't like their story as much as the others. I felt like it was more physically driven than anything, and It was just like passionate and not like mental. Like they were just kind of like two hot people who got together. Well, Red is not hot in my opinion, but I guess that's the vibe they were going for. So yeah, with that, Flawless is my least favorite book. I do like it, okay? But it was just not my favorite in the series at all. Not compared to the rest of them. Now, in fourth place is Powerless, which is the third book of the Chestnut Spring series. This follows Jasper and Sloane. They were childhood friends. Sloane is the cousin of the Eatons. She's their cousin, and then Jasper's like their adopted son. They're not really related at all. This book is so low because it's childhood friends to lovers. And if there's one thing about me, I hate childhood friends to lovers. Okay? I don't like it. I don't know why. I don't know why. But there was a lot of flashbacks. Okay? A lot of flashbacks to them when they were younger. And they have a very uncomfortable age gap for the flashbacks that they were mentioning. Nothing bad happened to them, like nothing bad, but it was just like you're going back to when she was 12 and you were 17. Like that was just something that, like, I couldn't really get past. She's a runaway bride. He's a hockey player. He is obsessed with her. He got a tattoo of her first performance on him, which we don't find out until the end, which is super cute. But they're just on a road trip to go to Rose Hill, which is kind of like the other Chestnut Spring series that Elsie Silver's written. That's where the sister lives, the Eaton sister lives. So they were kind of going there to do something or pick up something like that. Car breaks down. They have one bed. Like, the tropes are very good. I just don't like childhood friends to lovers, and I just couldn't get past the flashbacks of them having this weird age gap. Like, when you're older, it's a little more normal. Like 25, 30 doesn't sound as bad as like 12 and 17. So that's the only reason it was so low. It just like, it was that, and also from my previous rankings, I just didn't connect to them as much as I connected to the other characters. So it was a good book, forgettable in my opinion. Again, I have to say I'm so sorry, Giovanna, because I know you love them. In third place is Hopeless, which is the fifth book of the Elsie Silver series. This book surprised me so much because I really wasn't excited to read about Beau. I know it sounds a little like, but like I just wasn't excited. You know, like he was kind of not present in the rest of the books because he is in the military, so he was kind of sent off. But then something happens to him in Powerless and Reckless, and that's like that plot I was talking about, like in the beginning. And he comes back and he's suffering like PTSD. He's really relying on like alcohol to help him feel something again, or moreover like numb the pain that he's feeling, because he was stuck in a cave for like a week or something, like with a dying journalist. Like he went back into the war zone, he picked up like this journalist or something. He just has severe PTSD. Bailey is a 22-year-old bartender. She never went to college, but she has this really bad rep around town because her brothers are kind of awful people. They're disgusting. They're nasty. They cause havoc. They cause chaos. They're the Eatons' rivals. Like, they share a property line, and they do not get along. Because the Eatons are, like, more prim and proper, even though they're more, like, rough, like cowboys, but compared to, like, Bailey's family. So she's trying to save up money to leave, but she's also paying their property bills. Like, she's kind of in like this loop of like, I'm not getting anywhere. No one wants to hire me because they think I act like my brothers, like this and that. So they become fake fiancés so that she can have the Eaton name, and so people would kind of respect her more. I really like this book. I flew through this book. I flew. I read it so fast, and it was the first book I read when I got my Kindle. I was like, okay, I finished the Chestnut Spring series so long ago, and I have to read the fifth one so that I can like get the whole experience. I really like this book. There was just some scenes I was like, oh, like again, like with that age gap thing, like I don't mind reading about age gaps if they're brought up a couple times, but like when it's brought up every single chapter and it's like, but she's so young, but he's so old, but she's so inexperienced, but he's so experienced, I get the ick. I'm like, okay guys, like cut it out. Like, I don't, like, you said your age in the beginning, like, let's leave it there. Because this is, let's be real, like, this is fiction, like, it's not real, but let's just leave it in chapter 1, where we find out your ages, and then we can just move on. But I thought Beau was really good for Bailey. He really, like, helped her through, like, the struggle that she was having with her family, with her life. They ended up leaving Chestnut Springs because he was working with Cade on the farm, and he just didn't have that passion like Cade had his passion. So he ended up leaving her and him. She ended up going to college. Like, it was a really, like, good ending. So it was a pretty decent book, and I did genuinely enjoy it. So that's why this is 3rd place. In 2nd place, we have Reckless, which is the 4th book. So this follows Winter and Theo. So like I said, Winter is the sister of Summer, and she kind of resents her in the first couple of books, and especially after Flawless, when she finds out what her fiance/husband did to Summer when Summer was a teenager, which she did not know about, like, but she left him the second it happened. And so she's having, like, down bad, awful time. So Summer's like, come over to the Eaton house, like, just like I want to get to know you better, like, I want to get closer to you, because they're half sisters, they're not full sisters. So Winter ends up coming, she bumps into Theo, whatever, everyone has a fun drunk night. Then Winter leaves, her and Theo leave, they go to a hotel for the night, and they have a one-night stand, and she ends up getting pregnant. She then texts Theo, because she's like, there's no way that this is my ex's baby, like, there's no way. So she texts Theo that she's pregnant, and he never answers. He never responds. She watches him on the TVs. Like, he's gone on, like, a tour, because he's a bull rider with Rhett. He's Rhett's best friend. So they're gone on the tour while Willa's literally pregnant. Okay. So Willa ends up moving closer to Chestnut Springs. There's Chestnut Springs, and then there's the ranch that they live on. Most of the characters live in the ranch. Winter lives right outside the ranch, like, in the Chestnut Springs neighborhood. So she buys a little house there. She has her daughter. Her name's Vivi. And then Theo comes home, and she, like, resents him. It's given, like enemies. Like, they're enemies. Like, she's pissed. She's like, listen, like, you could have just acknowledged it, like, blah, 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 blah. He had no clue what she was talking about, because his manager stole his phone and deleted the text message. Crazy. So he really tries to be a part of Vivi's life, and they end up bubbling a relationship together. He buys the house next door so that he can be next to them. He buys a little dog for himself, and it's just, like, a very, like, wholesome character development for Winter too, because she was finally accepting her sister as her sister and not just, like, an affair child. And it was really nice to see their relationship grow, and it was so nice to see Theo and Winter's relationship grow. But they're not my favorite, because they just don't really pop in for the rest of the other books. So with that, that's why Reckless is number 2. And I would just like to thank Elsie Silver personally for giving me the last chapter of what actually happened at the hotel that night. Thank you so much. If you did process of elimination and you found out my favorite female main character and my favorite male main character, you probably guessed my favorite book of the series. And that is Heartless, which is the 2nd book. This follows Cade and Willa. I love this book. This is my favorite Chestnut Springs book. It follows, again, Cade and Willa. Cade is a single dad to a 7-year-old named Lucas, I believe. And he's just trying to, like, find that balance of working and taking care of his son and doing this and doing that and all of this stuff. And so he decides to hire a nanny, and he's like, I want someone who's trustworthy, because, like, he's a very protective father. He's very protective of his child. And Summer's like, my friend Willa's, like, just moved, like, or she didn't move, like, she doesn't want to be in the city anymore, okay? So she's like, have my friend Willa watch him, like, she's great with kids, like, trust me, like, she can do this. So Willa ends up being the nanny for Lucas, and her and Lucas form, like, this really special bond, and she kind of acts like a mother to him, because his mother was super absent in his life, like, kind of like a POS, like. And Cade warming up and, like, slowly melting, like, every time Willow was in the room, like, just like melted my heart, because this man was cold. He was grumpy. Like, he was a grumpy old man, and Willa kind of brought that life back into him. And I love Willa, period. Like, my favorite female main character. She's bubbly, she's spunky, she'll tell anyone anything. Okay, like, she will put him in his place if need be, and no one really did that before. So it was kind of like a, whoa, who is this girl kind of vibe. Everything was perfect about this book. The slow burn burned just enough that I wasn't at the point where I'm gonna like punch a wall because they're not doing anything. And just, again, my big thing was watching Cade turn from this hard stone man, and he was still very hard stone in front of everyone else, but like behind the scenes, like with Willa and Lucas, like it was just so cute. And I might reread this book soon because I really do miss these two characters, and it was just perfect. It was perfect. This book was so perfect. But yeah, that was my number 1. And with that being said, this is the ranking of my male main characters, female main characters, and books of the entirety of the Chestnut Spring Series by Elsie Silver. This book has my entire heart, and this whole series is just such a feel-good, fun, just enough spice cowboy romance that really like makes you just want to go home and like give your family a hug because of the found family aspects of it. All 5 of these books have their own special place in my heart, and I just love it so much. And I haven't read the rest of Elsie Silver's books. I read one, which was Wild Love, which follows Willa's brother, but I have not read the Rose Hill series or anything like that, so I can't wait to get my hands on those so that I can do a mass Elsie Silver book ranking. But with that, I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more of these rankings and other videos. But I hope you have a great, wonderful, beautiful rest of your day, bestianas. And with that, I'm gonna go. Bye.